Hi, I'm Caitlin Gomez here at the GBTA broadcast studio along with my co-host Gabe Rizzi from Travel Leaders. Nice to see you, Gabe. And we have David Litwick from Mozio, who has actually been my friend for years, and I'm so excited because this is the first time that you are actually exhibiting with us. So welcome. Tell the audience a little bit more about Mozio.
So Mozio is a ground transportation aggregation platform. We aggregate 3,000 different taxis, shuttles, express trains, buses, fancy limousines, and we make it possible for travel agents to book it, for end users to get a mobile app that allows them to book black cars, Lyft, Heathrow Express, you name it, and also for executive assistants, all in one comprehensive framework that plugs into the GDSs, into the TMC's backend system, and really ties all of ground transportation together. It's an incredibly fragmented industry, and we help bring it all into one unified platform.
David, tell us more about Mozio. Tell us more about Mozio. How do you see it being incorporated in the business travel community?
Yeah, so a major company might use 50 to 60 different forms of ground transportation over the year, and a multinational will be in 20 to 30 different countries using all these different forms. It's an incredibly tough problem for a travel manager to navigate. Our feeling is that we want to make that process easier. We think right now you have a bunch of different apps, you have a bunch of different numbers that executive assistants call to get the right black car service. People hop on public transit or they hop on the express train. We want to tie that all into one system. Right now, it is a fairly unmanaged part of spend,
right.
And it's a significant part. So we know companies spend $20 million a year on ground transportation, and because it historically hasn't been digital and connected, it just hasn't been managed. People set very general rules, but largely if you use a certain service, it's greenlit, and you can spend $500–600 on a black car. Yet we have all these rules for making sure you don't buy a first class air ticket.
Right.
We haven't historically had that for ground, and we want to. The way you get to that, to managing that in the way it needs to be, is by bringing it all together in one digital platform. That's what we're trying to do.
Excellent.
And so you said before that it's a very fragmented industry, and a theme of the morning seems to have been simplicity, right? And I think that's exactly what you do, is you take this very convoluted marketplace of ground transportation and simplify it. And so how do you see that working in the travel agency space? I know you've been working with quite a few TMCs, and that historically has been something that agencies have shied away from because of the complexity with it. So how do you think you can help?
Yeah, so in many of the discussions with these TMCs, they've said it takes us 10 minutes to book a black car because the user interface is so complicated,
Which cuts into productivity and everything.
Yeah,
else.
exactly, and because they were quoted garage to garage rates, or not flat, not actual flat rates, and 10 minutes to book it, and we make 25 cents. That's literally a quote from one of the TMC partners. We make 25 cents, but they barely get cut into the transaction. And so part of our mission has been to really rethink that. We've brought down the booking time to 20 to 30 seconds by integrating as much of the information, passing the information in, integrating with flight stats, integrating with as many data sources as possible, and then really and obviously making it worth the TMC's while to do that. You mentioned we're working with a bunch of TMCs. Carlson Wagonlit is a strategic investor in us. Actually, we run. Our partner with American Express Global Business Travel to run GBT Ground, that is us, and a bunch of other smaller TMCs as well. So we have had a lot of success recently with our model and kind of bringing that to the TMCs and helping them simplify it.
David, Travel Leaders Group is a fierce advocate of technology and innovation, which is why when Caitlin brought the concept of Innovation Row to us, we couldn't wait to get on board. Tell us about that experience. What was it like being on the floor with other innovators in the space?
I mean, it's been great. We've, I'd say, there's only so much outreach. Sometimes you don't know who you should be talking to.
Right.
I'd say, and definitely we've been approached by some people who have said that they've got massive ground transportation problems in markets that we hadn't even considered, use cases we hadn't even considered, and they've come to us with these saying they want to integrate us and refer a lot of business. And I've been very pleasantly surprised with kind of the foot traffic that's just kind of approached us on the floor. So it's been great. The other startups are great. It's a good camaraderie between us, and I'm having a good time.
Well, it's taken me years to get you here, and I'm so glad that this is what actually brought you onto the floor, thanks to Travel Leaders and thanks to Innovation Row. So I can't wait to see what comes next year. Thanks for joining us, David.
Thank you.
Thanks.
On behalf of Gabe and I from the GBTA Broadcast Studio, see you next time.